Hi students, we have studied so far the role of microbes in human welfare and which we have completed microbes in household products and the first one. The second one, microbes in industries. Under the microbes in industries we have three headings. Number one, antibiotics. Number two, fermented beverages. Fermented beverages. The next one we have to go for the chemicals, enzymes and other bioactive molecules. That is the third one. So three headings under these microbes in industries. Number one, antibiotics. Number two, fermented beverages. And number three, that is what we have the chemicals, the enzymes and other bioactive molecules. Now we are in the place of fermented beverages. Beverages, anything, either hard drink or the soft drink. Here we are talking about only the alcoholic beverages. Preparation of alcoholic beverages, different types, either beer or what we have the rum or whiskey or wine, etc. So we have the microorganisms are extensively used in the preparation of various alcoholic beverages, particularly by the yeast. The yeast is the most commonly used organism and microorganism in the preparation of ethyl alcohol or ethanol. So it is also used in the preparation of, that one just made the alcoholic beverages. So microorganisms, especially yeast, is used in the production of many alcoholic beverages. For example, we have beer, wine, whiskey, rum, and also what we have brandy. These are the different alcoholic beverages, though they are harmful, but for commercial production, they are preparing that one to get money. Okay, so out of these beverages, that is beer, wine, whiskey, rum and brandy, wine is among the oldest alcoholic known beverage. We have a number of what is called wines, either from Japan or from England. So they started even the earliest century. That was just main alcoholic drink prepared without distillation. Later only by distillation process, they produced the distilled spirits like what we have the whiskey, rum and brandy, etc. in due course after just many years. Okay, wine is among the oldest alcoholic known beverage. It is normally being produced by the fermentation process, by the fermentation of what is called fruit juices, by yeast, either from the grape juice or any other fruit juices. We are preparing the different kinds of wine. Okay, now what is zymology? So what is fermentation? It is nothing but an anaerobic process. I will tell you more about that one later. In the absence of oxygen, the glucose, the sugar gets fermented to form alcohol. That is called alcoholic fermentation. Two types of fermentation, you know that one alcoholic fermentation, another one lactic acid fermentation. Here we are talking about alcoholic fermentation, the production of alcohol by anaerobic respiration with the help of microorganisms like yeast. Now, what is zymology? So it is an applied science, deals with the biochemical process of what is called fermentation and its practical uses. The study of simply fermentation is called what is known as zymology. What is the use of fermentation? What is its use in different what is called methods? Even actually you know that one, though there are alcoholic beverages, the wine is used for making the syrup, what we call the cough syrup that is to be given for the children. That is why the child is always drowsy after taking what is called the cough syrup. So what is zymology? It is an applied science dealing with the biochemical process of fermentation. What is fermentation? What is its practical use? That is called zymology. Okay, now let's go further about the effect of, that is Saccharomyces cerevisiae, that is what we have the yeast, the products obtained, how far they are being used, in what way they are being used. So different methods are adapted for the preparation of these alcoholic beverages. Not the same method, not the same what is called the substrate being used. Different substrates and different methods are used for the preparation of such alcoholic beverages. Let's see now. Saccharomyces cerevisiae, an yeast, commonly used in brewers industry for making beverages, hence called brewer's yeast. It is used for fermenting the malted cereals. We are getting what we have, the different types of alcoholic beverages, either from the malted cereals, that's nothing but actually the cereals made into powder, or from what is called actually fruit juices, or even from what is called the fermented sugarcane also used, or molasses also used for making what is called the alcoholic beverages. So malted cereals and fruit juices are converted into any one of these beverages like wine, beer, whiskey, brandy and rum, and by the yeast, the brewer's yeast, Saccharomyces cerevisiae. Now while making, actually we are doing two events. One is called actually more about what are the events happening, how to convert actually, that is the milling feedstock into, that is alcohol. We'll see later about the mechanism, discuss later. Now beer and wine are made without distillation. So two events happening during the preparation of what is called any alcoholic drink. I mentioned. One is fermentation, another one distillation. Distillation normally just a filtering process. So beer and wine are made without distillation. Directly the fruit juice, or we have what is called the barley, germinated barley, that's malt grain, get converted directly into, it's either beer or wine by process of fermentation. There is no distillation required for the preparation of beer and wine. And about what we have, the distilled, they are called distilled spirits. Just like rum, whiskey, brandy, vodka, etc. These are all called distilled actually spirit. Are made, they require two events or two processes. They are made both by fermentation process as well as distillation. After fermentation has been completed and the material obtained, namely the ethanol, is distilled off to produce a pure ethanol. Then nearly about, you know, that 96% concentration, and that is what is called distillation process. Okay, so rum, whiskey and brandy are made both by fermentation and distillation, whereas beer and wine are made without actually distillation process. Only fermentation alone taking place to convert either the malted cereal or we have just the fruit juices. Now let's see one by one the different kinds of that is what we have, either distilled spirits or the spirits which are made without any distillation. One by one, what is wine, how is it made, and what is beer, how is it made, and likewise we have to go for rum and also whiskey. Okay, let's take it. Number one, alcoholic beverage, the wine. How is it prepared? What's the mechanism? And before that, what is enology? The study of wine and wine making is called what is known as enology, the study of wine and wine making. Now, how is it made? Wine is made by fermentation of grape juice. So grape juice is fermented by different strains or species of Saccharomyces cerevisiae, that is a yeast. Now what are the different types of wine? We have red wine and white wine. What are the differences between red wine and white wine? For the preparation of red wine, black grapes are used along with the skin, entire fruit along with the skin, and sometimes the stem is also used. For the white wine, it is used, actually it is prepared, it is produced only from the fruit juice, of either black or white grapes, without skin and stems. There with the skin and the stems, and without skin and stems. Here it is made from what is called the black grapes, and here it is made from either black or white grapes, but only the fruit juice is used, not the skin and stems. So that's about the red and white wine. I'll write down the difference between these two in the board. I already discussed the differences between the red and white wine. I here wrote on the board. Here black grapes including skin and sometimes stem is also used. Just what is called the black grapes along with skin, the entire fruit. But here in the case of white wine, only the fruit juice that is obtained from either black or white grapes without skin and stems. So here only the fruit juices of either black or white grapes are used without skin and stem. So with the skin and stem, that is a black grape. And here either black or white grapes, their juices without skin and then stem are used. Now the next one about the beer. So the first one wine, the second one about the beer. So it is produced from, that is actually malt, what is called germinated barley malt. Germinated barley malt. So it is obtained from the germinated barley malt grain by Saccharomyces causpergensis. So Saccharomyces causpergensis, that is an organism responsible for the fermentation of this, what is called the germinated barley malt grain. So that we are getting what is called the beer. Now the next one, what is called the rum. The rum is obtained from the fermented sugar cane, or from molasses, or directly from the sugar cane juice. Okay, by Saccharomyces cerevisiae. That is one. Then we have the next one, whiskey. So whiskey is normally a distilled alcoholic, you know that one, brandy, whiskey and rum. All these are all distilled alcoholic beverages. So whiskey is an example for distilled alcoholic beverage, which is normally made from the fermented grain mass. Grain mass means the crushed one, by again Saccharomyces cerevisiae. So only for making the beer we have the different species causpergensis. For making wine we are using different strains. Even we are not using that I wrote actually different species, but actually different strains of Saccharomyces cerevisiae, the brewer's yeast. So that's about what we have actually. That is a whiskey. The whiskey is made from what is called, that is fermented malt or grain mass, we can say, grain mass. That's a crushed one. By the fermented activity of once again Saccharomyces cerevisiae. I write down on the board. The next one, the third one, what we have, rum, and the fourth one, whiskey. As I explained earlier about the rum and whiskey, how are they made? Now I am writing the notes here. So rum is made from the fermented, that is sugar cane or molasses, or directly by sugar cane juice. Directly, that is from sugar cane juice or by sugar cane juice. Directly from sugar cane juice. That is a method of preparation of what we have actually, that is rum. By the action of once again the brewer's yeast, Saccharomyces cerevisiae. Another distilled alcoholic drink, that is whiskey. It is a distilled alcohol produced from fermented grain mash. That is nothing but the one which is being crushed and that is being fermented. Once again by the same, that is genus Saccharomyces species cerevisiae. Only for making the beer we have different species, but for making either wine or we have just actually the rum and whiskey, we are using the same yeast, Saccharomyces cerevisiae. But we have different strains, not the species but different strains. Though I wrote just actually different species of Saccharomyces cerevisiae responsible for fermenting fruit juices into wine, but actually it is strains, different types of the same species. Okay. Now we have to go for the traditional drink that is normally used in different parts of South India, what's called padane. So it is nothing but the fermenting sap, the fluid of either coconut or palm trees. Let's discuss a few words about that one. Now we have to talk about a few words about padane. So it is a traditional drink normally used in different parts of South India. It is normally obtained by fermenting the sap of either the coconut trees or the palm trees. What is the actual source? The tapping of unopened spadices. Spadix is the inflorescence. Spadix. This is the name of the inflorescence in the case of palm or in the case of coconut. By tapping what is called actually this inflorescence before it being opened, we can get the dripping of what is called the fluid from that one, and that is what is called the padane. So it is a refreshable drink If you are boiling the drink, you will get what's called jaggery or palm sugar. Palm sugar. Then, suppose if the padane is left for a few hours undisturbed, what would happen? It gets fermented into another fluid, another drink, what is called toddy. It is a fermented padane. Toddy is a fermented padane. How is it normally conversion occurs? By naturally occurring yeast to a beverage with normally 4% alcohol in concentration. 4% alcohol in concentration. So, toddy is a fermented padane that is formed with the help of that is naturally occurring yeast. We are not adding the yeast. Naturally occurring yeast converts, that is what is called the padane into toddy. If the padane or if the toddy is left for 24 hours, after 24 hours the toddy is unpalatable. So that it could be used only for the preparation of vinegar. It could be used only for the preparation of vinegar. Now it is actually somewhat, though it is considered as a soft drink, padane it is a soft drink. Once it gets fermented, it becomes an alcoholic beverage, what is called the toddy, with a 4% alcohol concentration. Now it is called alcoholic beverage. So padane is not alcoholic beverage, but toddy is an alcoholic beverage with a concentration of 4% alcohol in it. If it is normally not used for 24 hours, it becomes unpalatable, not being actually drinkable. So that it is being used only for the manufacture of vinegar. Okay. Now let's go for how far the industrial alcohol is produced. What is the most popular organism in the production of that one? So not only the yeast but also some bacteria involved in the production of that is what we call industrial alcohol. Now let's see now how ethanol is prepared commercially in industries. So if alcohol or ethanol is produced in industries for various purposes, then it's called industrial alcohol or industrial ethanol. Now the major producer of ethanol, as we usually know that one, the fermenting organism Saccharomyces cerevisiae, the yeast. Now the one which is produced, the alcohol or ethanol, is used for industries, laboratory and also fuel purposes because it is used as a biofuel. Hence called industrial alcohol. That's why the name is given, industrial alcohol and industrial ethanol. Now bacteria used, so not only we have the yeast but also bacteria used for the preparation of what is called alcohol in industries, particularly ethanol. Now what are the bacteria used? Number one, Xymomonas mobilis. This is one of the bacteria used in the preparation of ethanol in industries. Another one, Saccina ventriculi. This is another bacterium used in the preparation of what's called ethanol in industries. So not only yeast but also some bacteria used in the preparation of ethanol. So what are the materials normally used in the preparation of ethanol in industries? We have mainly the molasses or corn, or we have potato and wood waste, all being used for the preparation of what's called ethanol in industries. Now what are the steps involved in commercial production of alcohol? There are 4 steps involved in the commercial production of alcohol. Step number 1, milling feedstock. Milling means grinding. What is called we have, that is a feed, there is nothing but we have the starch, the products what we have to get from potato or wood waste, etc. They are being ground well. That's called milling feedstock. Then to this one, to break the starch present in these materials, we have amylase enzyme, the one which is obtained from fungus. So the next step is nothing but addition of dilute or fungal amylase enzyme. What for? To break down starch into fermentable sugars. That is step number 2. After the sugars, simple sugars have been formed, we have to add what is called the yeast to convert the simple sugars into ethanol. Then the last step, the distillation. So the ethanol is distilled off to get what is called actually a pure ethanol, which is of 96% in concentration. So I wrote 2 steps only, we have to go for the next 2 steps. The next step is addition of yeast. What for? To convert the sugar into ethanol. The last step is nothing but the distillation, because we know that one, Ethanol or any other what is called industrial products are distilled ones, distilled spirits. They have to be distilled, purified. So they are being distilled off. So that we are getting a pure ethanol with 96% in concentration. Okay, I'll write down on the board the next two steps. And also you know that one. The two commonly used biofuels today. Number one, ethanol. Number two, biodiesel. Ethanol and biodiesel are the two commonly used biofuels today. So these two represent what we call the first generation of biofuels technology. The first generation that is of biofuels technology. You know, ethanol is used as a fuel, mainly as that is biofuel additive. It is used as mainly a biofuel additive to gasoline, that is to the petrol or to the biodiesel or simply to the petroleum based diesel. So it is used mainly as what we call biofuel additive for gasoline. Gasoline, maybe we have the petroleum or petroleum products, that is diesel, petroleum based diesel. So that's about what we have, how to prepare industrial alcohol, what are the steps involved, why is it called industrial alcohol, etc. So I would like to write the remaining part of this part, that is the board, after finishing this one. Okay. I already explained the commercial production of ethanol. What are the steps involved? There are 4 steps. I mentioned step number 1, milling feedstock, that is grinding what we have the various materials, the sources into a powder. Then addition of dilute or fungal amylase enzyme, what for to break down the complex polysaccharide starch into fermentable sugars. The third step I mentioned, yeast is then added because it's a fermentable, just it is a one responsible for fermentation process. Yeast is then added to convert the sugars into ethanol. We have just applied the ethanol, which is not pure. So ethanol is then distilled off because 2 steps we need to get what is called the spirits. 1, fermentation process followed by distillation. To get ethanol with 96% concentration, 100% is not achieved, we are getting 96% concentration. See, the glucose is fermented with the help of yeast, or the simple sugar is fermented with the help of yeast to form ethyl alcohol or ethanol plus carbon dioxide. So in the case of lactic acid fermentation, there is no formation of carbon dioxide. But in alcoholic fermentation, there is a formation of carbon dioxide. That's the main difference between lactic acid fermentation and ethanol fermentation. Okay. What are the 2 common biofuels in use today? Number 1, ethanol, another one biodiesel. So ethanol is used as a fuel, mainly as what we have biofuel additive. What for? For gasoline. Biofuel additive for gasoline. Gasoline means nothing but you know that for the petroleum and its products. Okay, so that's about the steps involved, the role of Saccharomyces cerevisiae. I want to go through 2 more. Number 1, what is biodiesel? How is it prepared? What is it prepared? What is it actually that is used? Importance. There are 2 or 3 lines. And then what is called actually biofuel day. When it is celebrated, what is its importance? And the third question, 2 lines about Pasteur effect. What is Pasteur effect? The fermentation process was first observed by Pasteur. So we normally know that one. It is an anaerobic respiration, it occurs in the absence of oxygen. When oxygen is present, it retards or inhibits the fermentation process. That is called Pasteur effect. So the inhibiting effect of oxygen and fermentation is called Pasteur effect. As Pasteur normally proposed a concept of fermentation, is aptly called father of fermentation. So fermentation occurs only in the absence of oxygen. When oxygen is present, it inhibits the process of that is fermentation. That is called Pasteur effect. I mentioned the 2 common fuels, the biofuels used today. One is ethanol, what I discussed already. The second one, biodiesel. What is the source of biodiesel? It's normally made from vegetable oils, fats and grease. What is its importance? It is used as a fuel in biodiesel engines. We have petroleum engines and diesel engines, biodiesel engine, without alteration in engine. So if we want to convert petroleum engine into diesel engine, we have to spend money. But here without any alteration, we can make use of this biodiesel in biodiesel engine. What is the importance? It is non-toxic, biodegradable, easily degradable, and produces lower air pollutants than petroleum-based diesel fuel. Petroleum-based diesel fuel. So, the three importance of this one: non-toxic, biodegradable, and also produces lower level of air pollutants when compared to petroleum-based actually diesel fuel. Then, the government of India, what's the role played by government of India in making the biodiesel? So, the government of India approved national policy on biofuels and identified one plant, what is called Jatropha curcas, commonly called Catamanaka. And it belongs to the family Northern-Euphorbiaceae. So Jatropha curcas belongs to the family Euphorbiaceae, commonly called Catamanaka. It is a main source of biodiesel. It's a main source of biodiesel. So from the seed of this plant, the biodiesel has been out. Another plant, what is called Pongamia, is also suitable for biodiesel production. It belongs to the family Fabaceae, Pongamia. So Pongamia is also another plant suitable for biodiesel production, belong to the family Fabaceae. That's about the cause and effect biodiesel. I want to conclude with one question. What is called biofuel day? What is its importance? Now the next one, biofuel day and its importance. So biofuel day is observed every year in 10th August. What is the importance? It creates actually awareness in the mind of the people about the importance of renewable, that is what's called biofuels, to an alternative for, that is normally conventional means the traditional, non-renewable fossil fuels. Now we are using the fossil fuels more and more, the petroleum products, the coal products, etc. To replace that one, we need biofuels. It is an alternative to reduce the pollution also. It also highlights, that is normally that in the various efforts taken by the government in biofuel sector. What are the various steps taken by the government? That is in various fields of what is called the biofuel sector. There is a separate sector for this one to improve. That is awareness to create more biofuels, etc. So that is being highlighted by, that is what we have, the 10th August, that is biofuel day. So it also highlights the various efforts taken by the government in biofuel sector. What were the steps taken by them to improve just actually the production of biofuels in this country? And that's about the second importance. Now we have to compare the concentration of alcohol content in terms of percentage in different alcoholic beverages. The least one you can find in the case of beer. It contains only 3 to 5% what is called alcohol. Then if you are taking cooler wine, it's a combination and a mixture of wine plus carbonate water and flavorings. That is called cooler wine. It has what is called 4 to 6% alcohol. Then if you are taking wine, it has about 9 to 14% alcohol. But in the case of all the distilled spirits, the concentration of alcohol is much higher. Either in whiskey or brandy or what we have the scotch or gin or vodka, in all cases, we have more concentration of alcohol, about 35 to 50% alcohol. That's why it affects mostly the liver. When people are drinking this distilled spirits, automatically the liver is affected within a short period of time. This is because of high concentration of alcohol. I mentioned already alcohol is a depressant. It decreases the activity of brain and leads to various consequences. So with this I concluded about what we have, that is industrial products. Under the industrial products, the role of microbes. The second one about the fermented beverages. The third one, under this one we have to go for the chemicals, the enzymes and other bioactive molecules. That's the last part of industrial products. Microbes in industrial products, the third one. Let's take it in the next class. Okay, thank you.